It has to be this one. Like this GFP program, X Angel Academy that we just launched because there's a lot of structure behind it. We got a lot of different people involved. It wasn't just like, oh, we went to one of the countries in a mission, stayed there for several days and then came back. This was getting people involved in each of the ecosystems, startups, angel investors, to really driving that community aspect of it and taking the Balkans as a whole. I'm not from the Balkans, but I like to feel that I'm an honorary Balkan, considering that I've been in the region now for the last 5 years. It's been really wonderful, enriching, and in a way also like really emotional to see the outcome of this program. Definitely has to be my favorite moment so far. I think the major changes are from the time that I've been here, the talent that's been developed on the business side of the ecosystem, because I think the region was always strong on the tech side, but I was less of concern, like they can build a product, right? But ultimately, you don't really have a business unless you can actually sell that product. And then from selling the initial product to growth and scale. And I've seen more and more experienced founders in the region because they've come back. It doesn't matter where they came from, but they came back to the home country to build startups here and then to grow and scale them with teams in the region, even if they're selling into a global market, which has been really amazing to see. I think that's really made a big difference in terms of how the startup ecosystems have developed. I would break it down in two ways. One is access to capital. Oftentimes, these founders are raising capital for the first time, so they don't have the network, they don't understand the process, they don't understand what are the things that you need to look for as you go fundraising, the process itself, and then also when you're actually speaking with investors, what are the terms that are going to be good for you as a company when you think about how do you scale, right? Because oftentimes the terms that you set at an early stage really dictate the investors that come on board along with the terms that you get for investments later on. The second aspect of it is while the business acumen and experience has gotten better, I think there's still much room for improvement and growth, specifically around thinking bolder. Like how do we turn this company that's coming out one of these small Balkan countries into a global company and continue to push that envelope, I think is also a challenge. So like, how do you get people to think bigger? And I would say the third category is development of the entrepreneurs as well. And it's from my experience within the ecosystem, the countries are at different stages of developing entrepreneurs and that entrepreneur spirit. And if you want to continue to build and grow startups in a region, you have to look at that, and whether it's a program through the education system or program through the government, or it can be a combination thereof, that has to get developed if you want to continue the ecosystem to develop. I think Swiss EPA has this beautiful thing where they're able to tap into a very large network of experts to provide the startups exactly what they need. And I think there's a benefit to that, because my theory and my thesis is that each one of the startups has a very specific need. How do you find the right mentor or expert to help fill that need? And that's often a challenge, right? Because you see all these accelerators and incubators in the region, and they're not as effective because oftentimes they're run by folks who have actually never built a company. So they don't understand the nuances of what it takes to build and grow a business. Two, they don't have access to the expertise network that Swiss EP does. Because of that, it was an easy recommendation to Swiss Contact in Cambodia, now in Moldova, to bring Swiss EP into the fold, because clearly there's a formula here that works. So if the goal is to build out that specific ecosystem, it doesn't matter where it is in the world, you found something that works that can be adapted to the local ecosystem, which I think the Swiss EP system is flexible enough where you can go in, understand the local context, and say, here's how we're going to execute it on it. I think the other thing I really appreciate about Swiss EP is the speed. Get things done quickly. Jakob's been great along with the team. So whenever there's a need or there's a mission, things get done very quickly. And it's really helpful in actually getting a mission done and getting the tooling that you need to do anything.